The University of Fort Hare is hailed during centenary celebrations amid protests by students. Court rules in favour of EFF leader Julius Malema over Marikana massacre comments directed at the ANC. It's Friday. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramela.
And I'm Sandile Kangose. Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
You can also track our main stories using the following hashtags: UFH100 and Museneke.
The University of Fort Hare has been hailed for its contribution to African nationalism. Numerous speakers described the institution as the bedrock of a more tolerant South Africa. President Jacob Zuma said Fort Hare's centenary celebrations were not just important to South Africa, but to the continent as a whole. The event took place in Alice today amid violent student protests.
If it needs be, then they will have another Marikana. But in this case, it will be in University of Fort Hare. We are willing to die for the noble cause.
We are hungry. Even if they want to brutalize us, we are not going to back off.
Not even student demonstrations could disrupt proceedings inside. University of Fort Hare's history has been described as one worthy of continental recognition, having once served as the center of learning for black South Africans, with hundreds of African alumni, including the likes of Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe.
Here I was academically born, and here I was transformed, and here I truly discovered my African identity and African personality.
The centenary celebrations were led by the presidency, but Zuma could not shy away from the anger brewing outside this venue.
Students must reflect and think deeply about whose interests they are serving when they go all out to destroy their future and the future of their country.
Students have vowed to continue with their protests until their funding issues are addressed. The event was marked by a heavy police presence as officials at the institution remained on high alert.
Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke has retired from the bench after 15 years of service. He says South Africa's constitution is safe in the hands of Chief Justice Mogoeng. In a moving tribute, Mogoeng hailed Moseneke as a legal giant and freedom fighter who endured imprisonment and racism to become a lawyer.
May God bless Africa. May God bless her people.
This was how Dikgang Moseneke ended his 15-year career as one of the most powerful and influential judges in democratic South Africa. He was never given the chance to serve as Chief Justice, but the man who President Jacob Zuma appointed instead of him has paid him a powerful tribute.
He didn't throw tantrums when he was unquestionably, eminently qualified to take over as Chief Justice of the Republic. But I love what he said, is that, it's an honor just to be a judge.
The tribute showed how Moseneke and Mogoeng, once cast as adversaries, have become a powerful team.
We've scratched the hard wounds and things, and we found each other, as I said, and it was wonderful. It was a day of candor. I had to say openly what I think, he had to say openly what he thought, and the institution is the better for it.
That's what brought us together. The love for our people, and of course that love we also have for one another.
At a time of great political and economic uncertainty, Moseneke says he has faith in South Africa's judges under Mogoeng's leadership to continue to do the right thing. Karen Morn, Johannesburg.
The Supreme Court of Appeal has ruled in favour of Julius Malema over comments the EFF leader made in Parliament 2 years ago. The case was brought by National Council of Provinces Chair Thandi Modise, who objected to Malema blaming the ANC for the Marikana massacre. In 2014, the Western Cape High Court ruled that Malema was within his rights to make the statement. The SEA has now upheld that ruling.
Honorable Malema,
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Malema, the instruction to you is withdraw the statement.
I won't do
you
that.
made.
I'm sorry, I won't do that.
I will ask you again, Honorable Malema, withdraw that statement.
I maintain the ANC government killed people in Marikana.
You leave me no choice but to ask you to leave the
No
house.
problem.
Thank you.
The Supreme Court of Appeal has ruled that there was, in fact, nothing unparliamentary about Julius Malema's statement.
You are the premier there.
And it's upheld a decision made in favour of the EFF leader by the Western Cape High Court in August last year.
The appeal by the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces is dismissed with costs, such costs to include those consequent upon the employment of two counsel. 2, the costs of the application for condonation in respect of the respondent's failure to timeously serve and file their heads of argument shall be paid by their attorney, Mr. Godla, de bonus proprius on the attorney and own client scale. I hand down the judgment.
Thandi Modise's next move is unknown at this stage. But what is clear is that the courts have once again affirmed free speech in Parliament. Olimgambi, Johannesburg.
Now imagine going to school for 11 years only to realize when in grade 12 that you may not be able to graduate from high school. That's the reality one Johannesburg pupil is facing, all thanks to identity theft.
Hard at work, pushing through his final year of high school. It's the first part of Lawrence Pagati's journey towards becoming a climatologist. But his dream of sitting for his matric exams might not be realized. Someone else is using his ID number, meaning he cannot register for his important final high school exams.
If I do anything currently, any future plans that I have that concern that will also concern the other person. So whatever benefits I get, the person will also get. And kind of a little bit worried about both of these.
I cannot complete and sign that form using my son's identity number. Because that is like messing up his life further. Because time is running out for my son. I need to complete, sign and send it back to school, and the school will send it to the Department of Education.
All they want now is a new identity number for the teenager so he can move on with his life.
I need a solution like now, and I need an explanation, and I need an apology.
Despite numerous requests for comment, the Home Affairs Department is yet to do so. Instead, the spokesperson has accused eNCA of having an agenda against the ANC by running negative stories about the department. But what's really at the heart of this matter is a young man whose future hangs in the balance as he tries to make sense of a burden placed on him by unknown individuals who snuck in and stole his identity. Bongiwa Kumalo, Johannesburg.
A quick look at world news now, and Egypt's military says its search teams have found wreckage and passenger belongings from the Egypt airplane that crashed into the Mediterranean. 66 people were on board the plane that was en route from Paris to Cairo when it disappeared from radar screens yesterday. Speculation is still rife about the cause of the crash, with Egypt's aviation minister saying a terrorist attack would be a more likely scenario than a technical failure. Meanwhile, in Pakistan's largest city, mass graves are being dug in preparation for an impending heat wave. Karachi struggled to cope with soaring temperatures during the summer last year. State hospitals ran out of beds for heat wave patients and morgues ran out of freezer space. The local government has already set up water stations around the city to help residents keep cool.
Time now to get into all of your social media with Duduzi, who's standing by.
It is indeed. Thank you so much, Sandile. And at least 3 people were injured when metered taxi drivers fought with Uber drivers this afternoon at the Centenary train station. JMPD officers fired 4 warning shots to disperse the attackers. Cab drivers want the service gone altogether. And we end with this. NEC member Tony Yengeni today testified in his drunk driving case in the Cape Town Magistrates Court. He was arrested in August 2013 when his blood alcohol level was allegedly 5 times the legal limit. He says he was from a traditional ceremony at a relative's house in Guguletu and only had a few sips of umqomboti on that day. Yengeni also said he believed African beer has a low alcohol content and that 3 sips would not intoxicate him. Remember, we do love to hear from you. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct, or you can head on over to our website. That's eNCA.com/direct. After the break, your business news as well as your detailed weekend weather forecast. Money matters now, and the consequences for South Africa may be dire if its economy is downgraded. Officials from Fitch and Standard & Poor's are in the country to conduct an assessment. Business leaders met in Cape Town to discuss ways to avoid a downgrade.
Business leaders and the financial sector as a whole are concerned about a possible South Africa downgrade to junk status. They held a meeting in Cape Town with National Treasury to try and find solutions. The financial industry says a downgrade would have massive implications for South Africa's investor outlook.
Any downgrade from Standard & Poor's will drop at least one of the 3 ratings in South Africa to below investment grade.
Moody's current outlook for South Africa is negative. Standard & Poor's and Fitch are set to announce their ratings for South Africa early next month. The National Treasury says the country's outlook reflects worsening conditions due to the drought, weak commodity prices and other factors. But it says it's not all doom and gloom.
There's clear evidence and concrete actions that they have demonstrated that are more along the lines of reforms that are designed to set the economy on a much more higher growth trajectory.
Business leaders also called on government to remedy current uncertainty surrounding Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan.
We need to address the political leadership, unfortunately, in this country. I think it's poor at the moment. And we have, I suppose what's happened is a subset of individuals who have put their own personal interests above that of the country.
The public and private sector both agree that they need to work together to prevent South Africa from slipping into another recession. Bongandulane, Cape Town.
And with that, let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the weather center now. Here's Louis.
Hi there everybody and welcome to the Weather Centre. Let's start off with a quick look at the satellite imagery, and quite a bit of high level cloud passed over parts of the western, northern and eastern Cape during the course of today, although it remained mild and dry for those areas. In the east, lots of thick low cloud continued to push in from KwaZulu-Natal into Limpopo and Mpumalanga. This also caused a bit of light rain for some areas and also resulted in an especially cold day for the high-lying areas of Mpumalanga and the interior of KZN. Taking a look at what you can expect for the start of the weekend, and in KwaZulu-Natal it's going to be clearer and therefore warmer. Temperatures should rise into the mid-20s for most areas in the afternoon. The Eastern Cape is also going to be quite a bit warmer, reaching into the upper 20s for some parts parts of the interior, as well as for East London with a maximum temperature of 28 degrees. Not too bad in the Western Cape, partly cloudy but dry weather expected. It'll be warm, especially for the northern parts of the province, and not too much to speak of for the Northern Cape. A bit of cloud cover here and there, otherwise a pleasant day expected for this area. Heading into the Free State, and it will be partly cloudy in the afternoon for most areas, not much having too much of an effect on the region. A warmer day expected for Harrismith and Bethlehem. It's going to be cooler on the other hand for the eastern parts of the northwest. Many areas well into the lower 20s. A fair amount of cloud is also expected. A cloudy morning for most of Limpopo. That could also bring a bit of drizzle into Tsenin, perhaps even for Phalaborwa. Things will gradually start clearing in the afternoon. And it's also going to be a warmer and drier day for Mpumalanga. Still fairly cloudy for eMakazeni, keeping things cool with a maximum temperature of 17 degrees. A slightly cooler day also expected for Gauteng. A fair amount of cloud expected, but we're also likely to see things clearing up as the day goes on. Let's look further ahead to Sunday, and we're expecting it to be a dry day across South Africa. Temperatures bouncing back for Gauteng, Limpopo, as well as in Mpumalanga. And heading into Monday, it's going to be significantly warmer into KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape, while an approaching cold front brings some evening rain to Cape Town.
Double HP and the Soweto String Quartet team up to create a new sound fusion. All that and more after this. So what do you get when you mix motswako and classical music?
Well, a blend of local hip-hop courtesy of Double HP infused with the sounds of the Soweto String Quartet.
We are bringing our own genre of music, string instrument, together with motswako. A thing that has never happened, I've never seen it anywhere.
Every good musician always plays with a massive orchestra. There's always a quartet of strings, there's always horn section, there's always voices and a band.
We are fun musicians, versatile. We play jazz, classical, everything, you know. So you cannot pigeonhole these two, WHP and SSQ.
These guys are not just classical musicians, they're also musicians at heart, you know. So the collaboration, the amalgamation between us two was just very easy to do.
For it to sustain our relationship, we need to do a recording. So we're talking about it now, and we're going to be choosing songs.
A reminder of the day's top stories. The University of Fort Hare is hailed during centenary celebrations amid protests by students. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
Until next time, good night.